You know, for the past couple of years, I've had this incredible opportunity to just immerse myself in human stories. And out of all of them, this one powerful, shared truth kept showing up, something that really connects every single one of us. So today, we're going to explore what that is, looking at it through two amazing lenses, modern psychology and ancient Buddhist wisdom.
So it all began by listening to 186 different people. 186 completely different life stories. I mean, each one was so unique, filled with its own blend of pain and hope and just incredible resilience. But when you step back and look at them all together, a single unifying pattern becomes impossible to miss. A thread that runs through every single one.
And that thread is this: suffering. It's not some kind of bug in your system, it's a feature of being human. It's not a sign that you've messed up or that you're failing at life. It is just a fundamental part of the deal. And what's really fascinating is how this one reality is recognized by two very different traditions, clinical psychology and Buddhism.
Both of these traditions get that some forms of suffering are just, well, they're baked into the fabric of life. You know, things like not getting what we desperately want, or having to live with people we just don't click with, or being apart from the people we love the most. These aren't rare occurrences. They are central, unavoidable parts of the human experience.
Okay, so if these experiences are pretty much unavoidable, where's our power? This is the absolute key. We can't dodge suffering. Our power isn't in trying to avoid it. It's in the relationship we build with our experiences. That relationship, that's what changes everything.
So how does that relationship even get built? Well, it all starts in the mind. Think of your brain like a forest. The more you walk down a certain mental path, the more defined that path becomes. Your brain doesn't really judge if the thought is good or bad. It just makes the pathways you use the most easier to travel.
And as those mental pathways get deeper, the feelings connected to them get way stronger. A passing thought of frustration, if you think it over and over, doesn't just stay a thought. It starts to blossom into this persistent feeling of frustration that can color your whole day.
And it doesn't stop there. That thought, which grew into a feeling, now starts to drive how you respond to things. It becomes an action. And over time, that whole cycle, thinking, feeling, acting, becomes your default setting. It's your automatic way of being in the world.
And you know, this ancient piece of wisdom from the Buddha just captures it perfectly. We become what we think. It's such a profound statement, and what's amazing is that modern neuroscience is basically confirming it. The thoughts we keep on repeat don't just pass through our minds. They are literally building the architecture of our reality.
What's so remarkable to me is how these two different traditions get to the exact same conclusion just using their own language. Psychology calls it conditioning and habit formation. Buddhism uses the word sankhara, which points to these deep mental patterns or imprints we create. It's like two different maps leading to the same profound truth. Our mind is a habit-forming machine.
Okay, so this brings us to a really important question. If our mental habits are so powerful, why do so many of us feel stuck? Well, it's often because we're so busy trying to fix the symptoms, the discomfort, that we never look at the root cause. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound without ever cleaning it out. Looking across all those stories, and then holding them up against what both of these traditions teach, three root causes of suffering just kept showing up. So let's look at this chart. First, there's excessive clinging. Psychology might call this emotional dependency. Buddhism calls it tanha, which translates to thirst, that intense craving. Second, we have this kind of narrow tunnel vision, what psychology calls cognitive distortions. Buddhism calls this avidya, or a fundamental ignorance about how things really are. And third, there's that inner fight, that resistance to what's happening. Psychology's term is experiential avoidance. Buddhism calls it dosa, or aversion. These are the deep roots of so much of our struggle.
And here is the most important part. The problem isn't necessarily having these patterns. Let's be real, we all have them in some way. The real issue is when they're running the show in the dark, when we don't even know they're there. It's the unawareness of these habits that lets them control our lives and keeps the suffering going.
So what's the antidote? What's the turning point? Both traditions point to the exact same thing: awareness. This is the game changer. And awareness isn't about judging yourself or forcing your thoughts to stop. It's simply the act of noticing what's happening inside, your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions, and meeting them with a little bit of understanding and compassion.
And this idea is just so empowering, isn't it? We can't control everything that happens to us, not even close. But we always have a choice in how we meet whatever comes our way. We can make a conscious choice to just pause, to reflect on our own mental patterns, and to try to respond with just a little more awareness. Ultimately, what I've learned from all of this is that true healing, it isn't found by trying to build a perfect life that's free from problems. I mean, that's impossible. It comes from turning inward and getting to know the very mind that is experiencing life in all its messy, beautiful, and challenging glory.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Knowing that your true power isn't in controlling the world out there, but in how you relate to it on the inside. Moving forward, how will you choose to respond?